Sri Lanka is currently facing a severe economic crisis. The failure of the government to properly supply the basic needs of the people, such as gas, fuel, and electricity, has caused great unrest in the country. Poor decisions taken by governments in the recent past have created an economic crisis in Sri Lanka. Due to the weak economic policies pursued by the government, the foreign exchange reserves of our country have fallen sharply. As the country weakens economically, the people of the country are under severe pressure due to the abnormal rise in inflation. Such a severe crisis has been created due to poor economic management in our country for a long time. We meet several countries that have faced continuous economic crises over the past few decades. This is information about three of them. Number 3. Zimbabwe. Mugabe's corrupt administration has caused the country's economy to collapse since the mid-1990s. When the people of the country did not have jobs and money, the Mugabe government printed money without limits. When there was a shortage of goods due to the collapse of industry and production, there was a lot of competition to buy that small quantity of goods. Then the price of goods went up. Due to the shortage of money, the government printed more money. Production was disrupted due to poor management. The process dragged on like a cycle as there was no cure for the shortage of goods. The government also continued to print money, which was its only tactic. Even after the Zimbabwean dollar depreciated 3 times, the government was unable to contain the crash. Eventually, they even had to print a $1 trillion bill. When there is no alternative, the Zimbabwean government abolished the use of the Zimbabwean dollar in April 2009. Subsequently, currencies such as the US dollar, the euro, the South African rand, and the Chinese yuan began to be used in the country. Zimbabwe was devastated by the poor economic policies pursued during the Mugabe regime. It has been more than 2 years since President Mugabe's death, but the people of Zimbabwe are still reaping the benefits of his devastation. Number 2. Venezuela. Venezuela, a country on the South American continent, has become one of the world's leading crude oil producers in the past few decades. From the 1950s to the early 1980s, Venezuela's economy prospered. But by the mid-1980s, the country's economy was beginning to collapse. That was with the sharp fall in world crude oil prices in the mid-1980s. Jaime Lucinchi, the president of Venezuela, failed to take appropriate action to control the economic downturn. Due to his poor economic management, the gross domestic product fell from $60.39 billion in 1986 to $43.53 billion in 1989. Moreover, the economic growth rate, which was 6.51% in 1986, has come down to negative 8.57% by 1989. As inflation rose rapidly in the country, the people began to struggle. As crude oil revenues dwindled, the country did not have enough money to meet basic needs. Therefore, the importation of goods had to be restricted. As a result, there was a shortage of goods in the country. During that period, the Venezuelan bolivar currency depreciated due to unlimited printing. By the mid-1990s, the annual inflation rate had risen to 60%. The percentage of people living in the poverty rose to 66%. In addition, the collapse of the banking system created a major crisis in the country. Number 1. Argentina. Argentina's economic crisis continued in 1998, leading to the Great Depression. Months after the recession began, the country's external debt exceeded 50% of GDP. At the time, the Argentine government was informed of how the International Monetary Fund was balancing the country's budget through austerity. Unemployment rose 14% as a result of the $1.4 billion cut. In addition, tax rates had to be raised. By 2001, unemployment in Argentina had risen to 20% due to the shortage of food and goods in the country. People took to the streets to protest against the government.
So, what do you think about Sri Lankan economic crisis? Will it lead like Argentina, Venezuela, or Zimbabwe? Comment below. If you like to watch recent news like this, like, subscribe, share, and thanks for watching Learn with Tabia.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all. Take me back to a place where I felt at home.